way to start.
Damn.
What's the deal, ladies and gentlemen? We're back, of course, with the weekly Bgst podcast. Back and having a blast as always. What do you guys want to tackle first? The video game awards? What we want to tackle first? Scorpio, 12 gigs of RAM. What you want to talk about?
Start wherever you want. See, there's plenty to talk about. You got VGAs or just
we just talk about that. Yeah, we just talk about the VGAs first.
Yeah.
So
well, basically, you got the whole thing that's going on. We're filling for crap, just in case anyone's wondering. Crap's a little under the weather, so crap is here in body.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm here. My throat is just.
Yeah, he's not doing so well. He's not doing so good.
What we got?
Well, first and foremost, you got I look at all the categories and I kind of space it out like this. Best game of the year, you've got nothing in the category that's a Microsoft product, first of all. And I know it's kind of a lot of people in the audience are probably like, well, it's beating a dead horse. Maybe it is, but one thing someone told me was, well, you should boycott those things. And I said, listen, boycotting it doesn't do anything. They've already got the worst attendance in gaming award history. I mean, nobody really watches it to begin with, so boycotting it doesn't do anything. So you might as well be vocal and let people know that, listen, it's not that Xbox has to win every category, but can we at least be in the category? That's the part that surprises me is they just kind of got snubbed as a whole. I mean, you could see, when someone says, you got an honorable mention. An honorable mention is a fucking swift kick to the ass. What they took with Gears of War 4, which is an excellent game, they put it in best multiplayer, which me and Crap were talking about earlier. It doesn't stand a chance in that anyways.
Against Overwatch, right?
Yeah, I think Overwatch is in there. You got your, I don't know if Call of Duty's in there, but you've got all your Battlefield, all your other shit's in there. So I mean, it's not going to beat those multiplats. So I mean, long story short, at the end of the day, the only award they're going to walk out with is an award that nobody even heard of. Those awards in the Grammys and Oscars and Emmys that they're like, earlier today we gave this Oscar away. Didn't even make the You know what I mean? They're like, Xbox won 3 awards earlier today, but it's been Sony. So listen, guys, no hard feelings. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, when you sit down to watch these things on December 1st, it's the Sony Gaming Awards. It's not the Video Game Awards.
Even though it's held in the Microsoft Theater.
It is. It's held in the Microsoft Theater, which is, boy, I tell you, man.
You know what? Look, we spoke about this again and again, and I don't know if Phil and them speaking up would do anything, but yesterday is the first time that I looked at the actual nominees. Yeah. And this first time I see, because I'm usually out of the loop with stuff like that, but literally Uncharted, and I'm not saying that people may think it's a great game, and that's not my gripe or anything, but it literally was nominated, and if you had 16 brackets, it was nominated in 15 of the 16 brackets. Best actor, best cliff ending, best art direction. I'm like everything. You said best graphics, fine. A nominee for game of the year, okay, cool. But come on, best racer, what the car chase? They were bugging. Come on, that shit was just over the top. To me, when I looked at the games that were quote unquote game of the year, supposedly for the nomination for the year, to me, it was put up there for Sony to win. You know what I mean? Whether you like Gears of War or anything, come on, that's even if you pick something from Nintendo, Splatoon or whatever the hell they had big.
Well, that shit won last year, beat Halo out.
It beat Halo out.
Okay, what else? I don't know what else. That was probably the last hurrah Nintendo. But something, you know what I mean? That was just. And I'm not saying that it's not a great game. That's not my gripe. But if you have 18 or 20 categories and Uncharted is nominated 18 another 20 times, something's wrong with that. You know what I mean? And you couldn't find nothing else. From best graphics, Forza Horizon 3. Are you serious? That's bananas, man. Right.
Yeah, it's real sad. The list itself is bogus. I mean, because there was other games that should have had an honorable mention, and when you have Titanfall 2 that is in there, and then you don't put in Dark Souls 3 or Rise of the Tomb Raider, it kind of just makes you seem like, what are they thinking? I mean, it's like they're contradicting themselves on all levels. I like Inside, but Inside should be with the group with other indies. You see what I'm saying? And let every genre shine, and don't do the same stupid shit like they did last year, where they muffled up racing games and sports games all together. That was really crazy. And then, you know, just not to have an Xbox game in there is just trifling as it is. And I'm not saying that because of the fact that I'm an Xbox guy. It's just that, damn, it's not like they didn't have some good titles out. Quantum Break had a fantastic story. I think that story could be rivaled with Uncharted because it was very original.
Which one, Quantum Break?
Yeah, Quantum Break was very original. I
said that yesterday on yesterday's show. Like, that story, like, no Quantum Break. But I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
No. I'm just saying, I mean, there was no Xbox titles that was worthy to be in the nomination. I wouldn't have cared if Uncharted won, but it's still the fact that, you know, damn, Gears of War 4 just got overlooked like that. And then they'll, you know, and then I guarantee you they'll have all this category for best shooter, and Gears of War will be in there. But then I think Overwatch is going to sweep everything. I think Overwatch is going to be best shooter and is going to be game of the year, in my opinion.
The reason I agree with you, K-Mega, is because I have a feeling some way, somehow, that they play the safe card most times on these gaming awards, don't they? Like you said, that was a good pick last year with The Witcher 3, but it also kept no feuds from happening. Right. And when Overwatch wins, there's so many people playing that game on PC, and there are a handful on console, that it'll keep the peace. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Overwatch run the table.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
they don't care about keeping the peace, though, man.
That's true, crap. But
I don't think they do. I think that they, you know, look at the people who are voting. It's like, you know, it's literally the people that we complain about. You know, it's your Greg Millers and Colin Moriarty's and IGN's, and you know, it's those people. So I think that they have no interest in not keeping, you know, why not give them the win? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't doubt if Uncharted 4 wins a lot. They're going to win, you know, probably best studio for Naughty Dog, probably best game, best adventure game or whatever. I'm surprised they don't got them in best multiplayer. Come on.
Yeah, right. No, that's true. If it was best multiplayer, you just that's when you just drop the mic in confusion.
Oh well, you know, it's already like that. I mean, the best way you're gonna be able to tell how fixed and rigged this is Killer Instinct Season 3 is up against some really lackluster competition in Street Fighter 5 and King of Fighters, some other, you know, a couple of loser games. So when it doesn't win, or it goes to like Street Fighter 5 or some shit, you know what's up.
Right. Yeah, because I love Naruto. I got One Piece. The story of One Piece, when I was saying last week, it was dog shit. It was horrible. But then when you got into the actual game of the bounty hunting and stuff on One Piece, it's actually a decent game. It still ain't worth the 80 freaking bucks that I paid for it. But you know, you know what I'm saying? King of the Fighters it's a niche good game. You know, some people like it. Street Fighter, if it won, I would be done watching the VGAs forever. Killer Instinct is original. It's giving a hell of a lot more content. It's just a better overall fighter this generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Street Fighter 5 didn't have bad gameplay. It just didn't have a lot of, you know, it wasn't a complete game.
Forced content.
Yeah. So
it is tight gameplay wise, though.
I don't know. I mean, is this really the official award for best games? I mean, I watched it last year, and I kind of like lost all respect for it when they had Rocket League as the best
racer or best sport?
Best racer.
Yeah, best racer.
Oh, man, this is already
best racer and sports game, I believe. Yeah, because they muffed up all the races.
I want to point out something real quick before we get too far into the show. I got my TV on Fox right now, and this is the 5th Xbox One S commercial I've seen.
Shit!
In the last hour and a half.
It's funny. After we had that show, it has been nonstop Xbox commercials. It's funny that we said that. Crap kind of was right on that.
Oh, I bet, dude. It was on The Walking Dead. It was on The Family Guy. It was like every 2 seconds. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, there was.
I'm looking at it right now. It's on the Xbox One S. Yeah.
Damn right. It's like, and it's all like 4K.
Yeah, don't say it has a UHD player because that doesn't count, or that's not real.
Oh, it doesn't count.
It's not real according to some people. That's how pathetic it's gotten.
Yeah.
But on subject, I lost all kind of like respect for it. So that's why I'm kind of not like I don't give a fuck because. When they had Rocket League win best sports game, and then best racer, it just didn't make any sense. So it is a bit of a popularity, contest, and to me, it is what it is. It's I don't really if Uncharted took all the awards, to me it wouldn't. If they were actually doing it the way where I feel like they were doing it in a respectable way, or had some type of consistency. I mean, how do you have Rocket League win racing game? That's not a racing game. That's I mean, if you want to say it's a sports game, okay, but that game doesn't even come close to what Madden was last year anyway. So it's just opinions, and I don't know. For me, I'm just not. I don't really take it too serious.
Well, I'll one up you, Tim. Last year they had 5 most anticipated games. 4 of them were Sony games. It was Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last Guardian, Uncharted 4, and No Man's Sky, and then Quantum Break. It's like, well, we better give Microsoft one. You know what I mean? So I mean, and this year. They have Horizon Zero Dawn in there again, and God of War.
God of War. Okay.
Yeah, and what's really crazy is that out of all of that, they only gave Microsoft 1 award, if you remember, and that was to Ori and the Blind Forest
for art direction.
Because they had Phil Spencer there, so you kind of knew. That's how you know the shit was rigged, because Phil Spencer was up there presenting an award, and so they was like, okay, we got to save some kind of face and do this. Now, I know that a lot of people are thinking Uncharted is going to win hands down because it's got the scores of 10s, but do not forget, guys, there was a game last year that had 10 scores, and that was Metal Gear Solid 5, and it still lost. So that's what I'm saying. I think Overwatch is going to win it. Then I think on this one they're going to play it safe.
The first time, like I said, when I came to this, like 2012, they had, to me, with the same debacle when they gave the Telltale games, either The Walking Dead or The Wolf Amongst Us, one of those goddamn games, gave it Game of the Year. And what do we have that came out in 2012? You had Halo 4, you had The Last of Us, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. You had all these great games, and I think they do that to be controversial. You had to keep people talking, keep people talking about it. But I don't think, you say what describes a AAA, but I don't think games like that should be, in all fairness, on the same plateau as
hey guys, I asked this question on another podcast. Why is it that even in some of the other awards, they don't give the Xbox exclusives awards for like okay, the Golden Joysticks is a pretty good one as well. And the best Xbox One game was Rise of the Tomb Raider, according to them, while the best PS4 game was Uncharted 4. It's like, and this is something that happens a lot. Like, even, they'll say, oh, well, best Xbox One game will be, Battlefield 1. You know what I mean? It's like, we had, Forza Horizon 3, we had Gears 4. Why are you giving it to Multiplat? It's like they're afraid to give Xbox exclusives any kind of win. They don't. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, people are still playing Halo 5, and for that game not to be nominated was laughable. That's when I knew that these shows were shit. And if you remember, they were kissing. The reason why they botched up all of those categories all into one, because they were giving Kojima the ass licking up there, having 40 minutes of time and song and dance and all of that, and then everybody was praising his new game, and then we seen the damn trailer, and then we looking at dead babies and man ass. I mean, what the hell is going on here, man? What the hell is going on here?
It is a bit of a popularity contest and all that stuff. But like I said, my game of the year is my game of the year. I don't really, need to.
What's your game of the year? Like, what do you think if you had to give it to a game? All fanboys should have said, what would be your game of the year?
Wow.
You guys, what would be your game of the year?
If
you had to pick one. What's this 2016?
It was like Madden. I put
UFC 2.
Adrian. I mean, I could give you a quick list of games.
Quantum Break is up there for me.
Quantum Break's definitely up there.
It's up there. It's up there for me. Years. Titanfall 2 is up there. I mean, it's toss up between, I think, Quantum Break for me and Titanfall 2 for me personally.
I would say for myself, it would be between Uncharted 4, Gears of War 4, Quantum Break, and Battlefield 1.
I agree with everything K Mega said. Sans the Battlefield 1, but yes.
Well, no, Battlefield 1 is a very complete game. I mean,
It's a very complete game.
That game is really good. That story is amazing.
Yeah. To me, they shouldn't have had Overwatch as a contender. It only has a multiplayer component. I mean, yeah, it does good multiplayer, I suppose, if you're into that. But
even with that crap, think about this, and I don't have the tinfoil hat on. You take a game like Overwatch. I never played it, so you guys said it was great. I mean,
it's free this weekend.
Yeah. I'm just not. I hate shooters, but that was one of the reasons that quote unquote Titanfall got slammed because it didn't have a story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the original didn't have a story.
Well, here's the thing: don't we got to start looking at it this way because we're attacking only single player games for not having a multiplayer. We're attacking only multiplayer games for having a single player. Here's my warning to developers: if you're gonna put a game out that has single player and multiplayer, one has to be to be in contemplation for game of the year. You have to have a stellar one of them, and then a mediocre at least of the other. So, meaning like Tim's saying he likes Titanfall 2.
The single player,
but he doesn't like the multiplayer. So that, for me, would knock Titanfall 2 out because it would have to at least have a mediocre multiplayer.
I didn't really get into the Titanfall multiplayer.
Guess what, Tim? Neither did anyone. So like that's what I'm saying. That's what hurt it. So I mean that's why I think that one's out. Battlefield does stand the chance. I stand corrected. It's not in my top 3, but Battlefield has an outstanding single player and an over-the-top outstanding multiplayer. Okay. So I think it's in contention. Now, I wouldn't vote for it, but it's in contention.
And right now, it's outdoing Call of Duty. It's outselling Call of Duty right now. So it's man, Battlefield, Titanfall 2. No disrespect to anybody that loves the story. I just bought the game. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on it. It's entertaining, but I'm still not sold on it. That game should not have been in there. Doom is a good honorable mention, but you could have put Rise of the Tomb Raider or Dark Souls 3 in that place. Those are a lot more better. They're a lot better games than Doom, in my opinion, and Titanfall 2.
Yeah, well, one of the things that it's not mentioned because it's a racer, but Forza Horizon 3. I think that's pretty much closest to one of the best games done. Like everything is done perfect with that game.
Yeah,
graphically, everything was done great with it. But because it's a racer, it doesn't get that recognition. Now, we were talking pre-show about Inside, and I think that Inside has a chance to win Game of the Year because it's an artsy type pick, and it's. I think Journey won 2 years ago. So, like I said, all this is just opinions, and some of the stuff that why it wins is it wants to make a statement. Like Inside is like an artsy type statement. Now, I liked Inside a lot, but I hated the ending, and I don't think that it's Game of the Year. I would put Forza Horizon 3 over Inside.
I think Inside.
I agree.
I think one of you guys said it, so I'll give you guys. I don't remember who it was. K Mega or Crap. Inside should hands down win Indie of the Year, and then that's where we end it with Inside.
Yeah,
I mean
they got indies running amok on like every category. You know what I mean? Like to me, those games should just be in their own like indie category. No offense to people if you like indies or you're an indie developer, but let's be real, man. Like Inside, where there's no voice acting, there's no nothing. It's just like
Well, I'll give you an example. Listen. When somebody says to you, "Hey, what's your favorite thing in a supermarket?" Right? You're gonna say filet mignon, or you're gonna say, "Oh, I love that cut of veal in the back." You can't fucking put the Snickers bar that's at the register in the same category, even though it's in the same building, right? I mean, the Snickers is delicious, and we all want one when we need a fucking break, okay? But at the same time, that's the indie. The indie's a Snickers bar.
It's an edgy pick, but for me, like a game and it might have been a 2015 game, and it's kind of draws a line on an indie. It's kind of an indie, but it really is bigger than an indie, but. Like Survival of Ark to me was, for me, probably the most fun I've had. I think it was January I was playing it, but that game for me was one of the most fun games that I played. So again, it comes down to personal.
Well, here's my question, Tim. Let me put you on the hot seat for a minute. So that was the most fun you've ever had.
For in a while, I had a lot of fun with that game.
But was it the most fun you ever had for a while because you were playing with some great people, or did you just log on to Ark by yourself and play it for 10 hours? And
no, it was about the
it's about the people.
The people, but it's also the game was very. I mean, listen, the game had a lot of. It is in preview and it had a lot of issues, so I can understand it.
Well, I'm waiving the issues. That's
but,
not like
the game itself is something that I felt is new and it had a great concept and it really should really. I mean, the game's very popular, but it's not getting any kind of recognition, and that's where I see like these shows and all this stuff. Like they want to kiss people's ass and they want to give recognition.
Yeah.
But a game like Survival of Ark's not even mentioned, and it really should be, in my opinion, because it was a game that just I felt was new and it was fresh. I mean, and it had a great, idea of a game.
I think that, Tim, and I apologize. The only reason I want to interrupt you is because you're making such good points that you just said something a second ago that I had mentioned on Crossfire, and I'd like to stretch it out a little bit, is this. You have Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley he waxes palms, right? He literally walks up, shakes hands with everybody, and it's a PR business. This game awards, okay? Mm-hmm. This is all about like, don't offend this person, don't offend that person. It's just like everything else, right? God forbid we say anything on BGST.
Well, kiss this person's ass.
Yeah, kiss this person's ass.
Put this guy on a pedestal.
Exactly. What we need is we need an independent source that's independently. Let me rephrase this for everybody. An independently wealthy third source.
Wealthy,
third party. Wealthy because they don't give a shit if Microsoft or Sony are happy at the end. They don't give a shit. And you have it, and you have like an academy, and you don't put kind of funny games on the academy board. Okay, you have to put people that are true press that do revert to that do tech talk or tech evaluations and reviews. And then what you do is you go from there. Your credit, and then listen. I'm not bashing the indies. Ark should have its own. How about the preview games? All of those should have a category and this and that. But
We Happy Few.
You put all these great games in there. These people have worked very hard. I enjoy the awards. I really do. The problem is the part of the awards show I don't like is the actual awarding. It's the awarding I don't like.
Yeah, I think it's not done on a. It's not done it's not done in a like they're not gunning to be fair and balanced.
Right.
Put it that way. They're not.
Right.
They're looking they're looking to put people on pedestals. They're looking to. Right. They have that award where remember when Greg Mill, what was that award? Was like the
trending gamer.
Trending gamer. What the fuck is that? I mean, that's not a game award. Like, you want to be about games. You try to do it in a professional way. Right. To me, that's why I don't pay attention to it. And that's why when I saw people, maybe I'm just getting burnt out. But when I see people like we're talking about this and like what the fuck, I'm like, the game last year fucking had Rocket League as the best racer. How the fuck is that a racer?
Right. No, I know. That's the thing that really trips me out as well, because they contradict themselves on every level. A couple of years ago, they didn't bring Titanfall because it didn't have a story, but yet you bring in Overwatch, which is a contradiction. Then you go and then you see Yoshida. This was this week. I seen it on Twitter where he was having dinner with Colin and Miller at their house. Like, what kind of shit is this? And you know that they're going to be there, doing something with the show. I think the biggest problem with the show is that they try to do too much instead of just making it a true game show, like having all these musical artists, and then they're trying to have comedians. That's taking too much time. Just show us some trailers, have some more some more nominees to some more topics from different genres of games to have their place, because I'd be damned if Soccer Cards wins sports game of the year, and when you have NBA 2K has been solid for the last 3-4 years. Come on, Madden that year was unbelievable. This Madden right here is back to the old Madden that everybody knows and loves. It's fantastic. So just think about what the sports games would be this year if they don't fuck it up and do some crazy shit. You have NBA 2K, you have Madden, you'll have hockey, you'll have FIFA. You know what I'm saying? I think UFC. Did UFC come out this year? UFC 2 come out this year?
Last year.
Oh, they came out last year. Okay, so scratch that. But there's still a good, good competition, and for people that don't really pay attention to those games, if they see those games,
really a sport.
Listen,
yeah, they'll be like, you know what, that game looks pretty good.
But
I might want to try that out. They don't give these other
here's another blatant slap in the face. And shout out, Jamie Moran is what just sparked my memory of it, but we talked about it on Crossfire on Friday. Here's the thing. Can you tell me why in the best performance category, Sean Ashmore or the guy who plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones is not in there yet? Troy Baker in his little hat and Nolan North is in there, like repeated years, year after year after year for the nonsense that they do. Like, how can you tell me that two people that actually have won either Emmys or Oscars aren't up for the fucking Jeff Keighley Award? I don't understand that. That's just something I can never, ever put in. This is what I'm saying. Like Quantum Break, whether you liked it or not, the acting was superb. The acting was superb.
The writing was great.
The writing was fantastic. It was all written pretty much 90% by Sam Lake, who's an author at heart, I might add. And a true author, someone who's actually, I think he's actually published writing. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is a lot of kumbaya bullshit. And since somebody, I think K Mega said, I wonder if we'll see anything from, Phil's not going to say anything. Nobody says anything because nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings. And that's okay. But that's just the thing. This is the Sony Award show. And I wish they would just name it properly. Like this year in Sony's awards and multiplats, the winner goes to. And like you just sit there and you get your popcorn and you're ready for it, because you can't snub Microsoft in so many categories and be like, no, they took Microsoft into account. No, they didn't.
Yeah,
they just didn't. You left Sean Ashmore off of best performance, but I got to look at Troy Baker in his little hat up on stage. Fucking tell me how great his latte was. Get out of here. I don't know. Whatever. It
was crazy. But then you have the shows, the different shows that we do throughout the week and whatever. And when we speak on this, and then it looked like we're these zealous fans, and
no, listen, you what, Z, you're right, and Tim's right, 100% right. By the way, I'm doing this because it's a discussion on the show, but I'm not tweeting out like crazy or getting upset. Listen, I'm going to watch the show. I like to support it because I love video games, right? I like to see the people that have put their hard work this year into deserving an award. And I think to a certain extent, it is a little long. Sometimes it runs a little long, but it is a fun thing to watch, especially the first hour and a half or so. So it is what it is. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm still going to watch it, but there's no doubt there's a bias cloud that floats over this. So
that's a good point. We should, look, we got to support it because there is nothing else.
There's nothing else
like that. So, you just hope for the change, I guess, that people call out the bullshit.
That's why being vocal is a good thing about it. I'm not being vocal. I'm not saying boycott. I'm watching it. I'll be there front row.
Yeah. I gotta watch it when I wish for things. I'll probably
watch it.
I'm gonna watch.
I'm not gonna get, like I said, like last year. I actually was like, "What the fuck is going on? Why is Forza not winning this? And this is a racer." And to me, that didn't make any sense. So this year, I'm just going into it with hey, let's see, let's see what's going on. And I'm not going to really get upset about what wins or,
But what's weird, Tim, is they give VR its own category now, but racing games don't get theirs. It's now they're lumped in with sports games.
That's ridiculous. So that's terrible, man.
Indies get their own category. Racers don't though. So I don't know.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. They try to make it out to where sports games or racers don't matter. They try to, how like most people that I don't care about sports games. Well, you better, because sports games is pumping lifeblood into the gaming industry. While a lot of people want to open their mouth and talk about, well, these people didn't buy this. Tomb Raider is the best shit. Well, hell, PlayStation fans didn't even buy the game. We didn't, from what the numbers show, people didn't go buy Quantum Break. But you know what? People went and bought Madden. People bought NBA 2K17. So the industry is making some money off of those. So they should show those games love and credit and give them credit for what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And if they want to, kiss a game's ass like Rocket League, I don't know how you do that, but you shouldn't put it in a fucking racer and a sports game. It's it's pretty much an indie. But they wanted to make a big deal about, they wanted to put Rocket League on a pedestal, and that's how they did it. which to me you're hurting the I guess the word sanctity of the awards. You know, like you gotta have consistent. You gotta have a game. If you're gonna have a fucking sports game, that's not a sports game.
Right.
That just if you're gonna classify it, it's an indie. That's all it is. It's not a fucking racer. How do you race in that fucking game? It's soccer.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
If you want to call it soccer, you know, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, Sony fans should be pissed off too. I mean, MLB, the show, and FIFA fans should be pissed off. I mean,
100%.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, man. Fuck that show, man. Send that shit to Hades, man. I can't stand that shit.
Send that shit to Hades.
Well, I guess moving right along, we have some of the developers are speaking out. I guess in light of what's going on with the PS4 Pro and people not being too pleased with the system performance thus far, was saying that Xbox games, they gotta have as far as parity, as far as gameplay wise, but they're able to crank up, the graphics fidelity. Games are gonna look, amazing. So you see, yes, compared to having a brand new, graphics card and able to turn the graphics up, all the way on maximum, whatever the case. What do you guys feel about that? Are you happy? You looking forward to it?
I guess it's just a wait and see type of thing. I think Scorpio, the way it's being developed, and the way it's being developed, and I saw in the show notes mentioned UWP. I think Jez had a great article on that.
Yes.
How the platform is really lending itself to all these games. Like realistically, the game Forza Horizon 3 being played on 4K is kind of the experience you're going to get with Scorpio. That's on PC, and that's enabled by UWP. Like I said, Jez article goes really into it, but I think with the way Xbox is going about it. And from what you can learn a lot from Pro's launch and some of the issues that they have, I think Xbox, being that they're being developed, it's going to be fun to watch when this launches, and I think it's going to be a type of thing where it's going to be a much bigger blowout of games for Scorpio. You're going to see a lot of good stuff. I don't think that you're going to see some of these problems that Pro's having. No. And I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that certain games on even your Xbox One games perform better and can utilize Scorpio's extra processing power right off the bat with kind of no work. Like Halo 5, for example, will be playing, because it's dynamic, will be playing 1080p 60 frames per second. Because it could utilize the power, and a lot of that is the way certain things with the UWP enables a lot. So I'm excited. I really hope that the rumor is true that the 12 gigabits of RAM is true, and I'm pretty sure it is going to happen. So hopefully we get some 4K textures, and we get we get the enhancement with these games, because Scorpio is head and above shoulders going to stomp Pro to the ground, and
it really is.
And I hope there is no parity. I hope that they really do push the system. And I don't think we have to. Tim, me and you were on the same page with this a week or so ago. I'll say it again: the power, and I don't need to tell Microsoft this; they know that. The power's in Microsoft's first-party studios. When Microsoft's first-party studios comes out with a game and shows the real power of Scorpio, okay, it'll put the third-party companies on notice, because then if they come out with a game, someone will be like, "Halo 6 looked like this." But
and you made that?
You made that point. It was a very good point. But wouldn't, if you're a third-party developer, let's just say would you want your game to look the best it could look?
That's a great question, Tim. But this business is upside down. Yes, to answer your question, in any other topic besides gaming, yes, absolutely. But for some reason, I don't know. I can't answer you with a certainty in this world. I just can't. Because why in God's green earth, okay, where GTA 5 is both the same specs across the board, Why wouldn't you put the same blades of grass in both games? I don't know. I have no idea why these people do this. And people always use these different crutches. Money, time, money. Okay, I understand that those things both fit the excuse category very well, but they don't fit the excuse category very well when half the titles are doing it in parity and the other ones aren't. And I don't understand. Your question is probably the question of the ages. And it'll go across every podcast from now till infinity, and no one's ever going to give you an answer. I can't figure out, and that's why I said to answer your question and to ensure that is Microsoft's first party have to come out guns blazing to show the power of the box they created, so that when a company like something Ubisoft makes that looks ridiculous, okay, on the Xbox One, you say, really? Because now we know it's you, because look what this box can do. So that's that's all I can answer it with is wait and see.
Well, this is where I'm going to have to agree with you from what we were talking about last week, Mooch, is it's about, and next gen, because you guys were adamant about it, was the advertising. If they can get the advertising rights to certain games, that's when you'll start seeing the true power of what the Scorpio can do. Just looking case in point with Black Ops 3. On the PlayStation, it runs and it looks a hell of a lot better than it does on the Xbox One. That's just a fact. Some people say NBA 2K runs and looks better on the PlayStation. I know it looks better. I don't know if it runs better because it runs pretty damn smooth on the X1. But you know what I'm saying? But when you look at Madden, now PlayStation fans will argue me up and down with this because I play on both. I go to the homeboy's house and play on his PlayStation 4, play Madden. Madden runs and plays a hell of a lot better than it does on the PlayStation 4. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but that's just a fact. And because they have the marketing deals. I think that's just the key and the strategy. So Microsoft better get it in gear and have their first parties in gear, like you were saying.
I'd like to see. Well, we went down the list last week, so we won't reiterate it all again. But the only two that I think are up for grabs that are not known right now are Destiny 2 and Battlefront 2. And I would, if anybody from Redmond,
I thought Sony had.
That's not locked down.
No, it's not
locked down. I would just, if anybody from Redmond's listening, I don't care if you're a janitor or if you're Phil himself, please get Destiny 2, because let me tell you something. It would cause shockwaves through the gaming industry.
I actually had this conversation with Rand, and you know what? If you could have one, Rand was in your boat, but for me, if you could have one, I would take Battlefront, because Star Wars to me
bigger,
is huge.
Yeah, but here's the thing: people aren't going to be fooled by that game the second time, just like Titanfall.
Right.
I don't know, but it's still an iconic franchise. Imagine a Scorpio freaking a themed console, Scorpio.
I get that, but again, look, people abandon that game quicker than.
But it still made a lot of money, and it's still Star Wars. We're talking about. We know people are stupid.
Yeah,
but Destiny over the long term, like Rand said, over the long term.
Yeah.
Destiny's the way
I would say that, but look, I think both are up for grabs, because look, Red Dead Redemption 2, we know Sony has that. Call of Duty, we know Sony has that. Yes. Assassin's Creed makes a comeback next year. Sony's going to have that. You know what I mean? There's too many games for them to have.
Someone's not going to want to pay for everything. I mean,
exactly.
Red Dead, they got COD. COD's like
between Red Dead and Call of Duty, though. That's a couple of AAA games.
Yeah.
Here's going to be out next year, but don't forget about the Ghost Recon. I don't know who has Ghost Recon. I think Microsoft got Ghost Recon.
Hopefully they don't. So, man, that game's garbage.
What, Ghost Recon?
Yeah.
Oh man, that game looks awesome. I mean, and I wouldn't give up hope. It's coming out in spring. I wouldn't give up hope on the Division either. Even the Division was fantastic at first, and then they did the patches and it messed up. Now it seems like they're trying to get it in gear. There's still a couple of hitches, but I would not give up on the Division, because
I agree. At one time it was huge.
What's the Division?
Yeah, what's the Division? That's bad.
No,
Hey,
for
hey,
me
Mega.
though, it's a great debate for me. And
It is a good debate.
I think that Star Wars is if it would win you, it would just go right along with that launch of Scorpio. It'd be a beast.
I'll give you an
Long
example.
term,
Tim.
Destiny 2 probably wins.
Exactly.
Plus,
Tim, if
you got
wanna
built-in
go-
marketing with Phil. Imagine, Phil plays that
Well, that's
game.
what I'm trying to say. Hear me out real quick, Tim. Going for the Battlefront 2 is like when you're like you're a Mets fan like I am. That was like when we went and got Johan Santana and we had to win the first year we got him because he was going to break down, right? Or you do what Sandy Alderson did for the Mets, and you go and get an insane farm team over 4 years. Okay, now hear me out.
True.
Destiny's going to give you prosperity for 4 years. Battlefront 2 is going to give you 2 months of sales. Great 2 months.
It would win you. It would win you though.
It would win you the
It
holiday.
would lock you the holiday.
It is still a lot of hardware.
It
But
would
wait a
sell a
minute.
lot.
Where I don't think Destiny locks you the holiday.
It might though.
It
Because-
might.
Tim,
But like I said, you gotta wait for
Destiny-
the prospects to mature.
Destiny has all the people that are playing now are definitely getting Destiny 2, every last one of them. And then you have all the people that were like, I never got on Destiny and I kicked myself. Because like crap's like, you guys were all level 380. I don't feel like playing with you anymore. Well, when Destiny 2 comes out, and I'm not busting Crap's balls.
Yeah.
Crap's actually in a large group of people. Okay, there's a lot of people that'll be like, I want to get on at Destiny. So don't underlook Destiny. Destiny has this lure,
Destiny's
not only to the
huge,
not just to the
huge.
faithful, but to the people who skipped it the first time can now join in. That being said, K Mega, if Bungie does come back in a marketing deal to Microsoft, I know you're good at this. I'm gonna give you the idea. You roll with it on your channel. You got to play a Welcome Back Cotter theme song to Bungie coming home.
I definitely will.
All right.
Welcome back. Welcome
yeah,
back.
I'll definitely-
Welcome back.
Yeah. Welcome back. Hey, the same welcome.
There it is.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, no, I got that. No, it would be fantastic, but I think if Microsoft can get Battlefront, that can go head to head against Red Dead, because Red Dead is a monster, and the only thing that can handle a behemoth is another behemoth, and Star Wars has that clout.
I was gonna say it's a great debate, but if I'm Microsoft, I'm budgeting how I'm getting Destiny 2 and Battlefront. That's how you do it.
That's the way you do it. But
That's the only way you do it.
Okay, we'll get them, and then get Ghost Recon to solidify the
Listen.
beginning of the year.
That's
beginning
fine,
of the year?
but remember, K Mega, we all agree on this panel that The Witcher 3 is one hell of a game, and Microsoft had the rights to that. You know what that won them? Jack and shit.
Yeah.
But-
Plus, Microsoft is going to have rights to the new Splinter Cell next year, which I mean, whoop-de-doo, I
That's gonna
guess.
be
Is this been confirmed?
Well, no, I mean, I've heard things.
No, it's about the game. I mean, and not the.
I didn't even hear about the game.
Yeah, I didn't hear about the game.
Oh,
either.
dude, we heard about the game. Michael Ironside was back recording months and months ago.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was a couple
But,
of.
They were going to announce it. They were going to announce it at this E3, but then held off last minute. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But like Tim and was saying, like a game like Battlefront, you have like such as my uncle, who's not a big gamer, but he went out and bought the PS4 just to have the theme.
And how long did he play?
Whether he played it or not, it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter though, because you just lure people in with the name.
Yeah.
The movie's coming out too.
I get it, but I just think people are like, fool me once on that. I don't know.
No, the people are stupid, dude. People. Anytime they'll go gaga for Star Wars. That's just the way it is.
Star Wars wasn't that bad. It just didn't have no content. The game was beautiful.
Right. It's supposedly having a single player. But let me ask you
There's
guys.
16 million copies.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. Phil is not really. He's been publicly on record as saying, "Well, I don't really believe in taking with these marketing deals and having the game for 30 days. I'd rather spend the money." But the fact of the matter is with all the advantages that Scorpio has going in, if they do not lock up some of these fucking third-party deals, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah. Because you know what? Even with an inferior console or whatever you want to say, and all the things that Scorpio has going for it, if they don't have a third-party deal, a big deal, that's going to hurt them badly. And if Sony actually gets everything, Sony could take it.
Who has Mass Effect? Sony too.
Sony too. So
Yeah,
you
Sony
gotta get some. You gotta get some third party.
Well, Microsoft got
Gotta
Tekken 7.
I mean,
Hey man, hey! That's a big get. I can't wait. When I seen my boy Harada, that's who should have came out there and had song and dance at the VGAs was Harada. Not no goddamn Kojima with man ass. I want to see Harada with some damn Tekken. That's what the hell is going on, man. That's a great deal. Good job, Killer Phil. Hell yeah. Tekken is life, baby. Woo!
Well, I think they definitely gotta secure some third party big games, because if they don't, they're only just they're shooting themselves in the foot with the Scorpio launch. You gotta have Battlefront, or you gotta have Destiny.
Well, a lot of people are just
Or
kind
both.
of in this camp now that what's the point of Scorpio? Like there's some confusion going on that I see, and some of it I agree with. Like Microsoft is like, there's no more generations, but again, and I brought this up to Mooch before, which is generations are how you knew when a cutoff point was on an old console and it wasn't getting the games anymore and the new ones were. You know what I mean? So, you know, like, and I do podcasts with GKB a lot, and he's always like, I want bigger worlds and this, but you're not going to get a bigger world on a Scorpio version of a game than a Xbox OG one.
But
You know what I mean?
this is a console refresh. They're not going to ever. This is never going to be a new console. But with UWP, you know, it does enable something.
I still think they call it Xbox One something or other. You know what I mean? Like I have a feeling that.
But you're never going to get a game that's the only thing exclusive is going to be VR. You're not going.
If they even do VR, like Phil doesn't seem very high on that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that they might have something in the work with Bethesda with the Fallout 4.
Bethesda, yeah. I mean, they could, but you know what? Like, look, that guy is just he's just an Xbox fan. You know, I think Rand was saying this the other day on Crossfire. Like, some people in the industry are just fans of certain companies. You know, like what's his name, Pete Hines.
Yeah.
He's just an Xbox fan. He's always been an Xbox fan. You know what I mean? So, I mean, Phil doesn't like the big bulky wires and stuff with VR.
Well, he's just not. I mean, he what he said on VR was
it's not sold on it.
He just said that it has to come out of that. It had to get out of that phase, and you know what he said is completely true. I mean, all of us, and I don't want to get into a whole VR thing, but the VR does not look like it was there. It's not slated as what they wanted it to be. They wanted it to be bigger. I'm sure that they look at it and they say, okay, we're doing okay. But I thought for one it would have been bigger. It's just not there, though. Any of the VR is just not there. You got to get out of that demo phase. You got to actually get some concrete, real games that really show off VR, in my opinion. Not Batman, where you know it's just like a walking simulator where you're looking around and you gotta lift your hand up. It's just
VR, or you know, the market or whatever. It'll probably flourish in the hands of the indie developers, and you get all types of experience. But and not to say that it's not an interesting piece of tech, because you know, I have yet to try it. But I think that $500 price tag, you know, which is expensive. And then on top of that, you got the Pro. So, you know, everybody has $1,000 to go drop on new hardware. You know what I mean? So,
and you don't want to get eye herpes.
So I think maybe, like I said, when they maybe come down on pricing, you know, maybe it may get legs, but they don't like drop. You know, Sony has a track record of just dropping.
You have to have a big game. You have to have a killer app. You have to have. They
that
don't really have that.
I mean that too.
Mr. Robinson was was one of their bigger games, and it didn't even touch 40 on or 50 on Amazon. These games aren't really being bought.
But it's not selling a lot of hardware. I mean, to put a dent in it, you know, or maybe Amazon may have sold 100,000 units or whatever the case may be. But I'm just saying.
I just think VR is just a proposition where we're still too far away off.
I agree.
Maybe go down to about $250, $300, you know, units. But
it's a long way off, though.
I know, but Tim, they just dropped the PS4 Pro.
It's not about cost, though, with VR, Z. In my personal opinion, like Tim had said, their best game out right now, which will probably win at the Game Awards, is that Batman game. And that Batman game is no better. You know those toys that infants use where you have like the circle and you put it in the circle, you pick up a star and you put it in the little star? That's all you do. You pick stuff up and put it down. Then you look around, you're like, wow, this is a really coll Batcave. Yeah. Get back to picking stuff up and putting it down. Oh, my bad. That's all
Is VR really for game, or there was more like for the experience? But
what does that? But what does that mean? Like people say, like mowing your lawn is an experience, right? I mean,
well, what I mean by this, me personally, I would want to get into a game and have that shit on my head for hours. Or trying to defeat a level or final boss. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think that's for that right there. But, maybe they may find their own rezo gun or some shit for it, to have fun for about 30, 40 minutes at a time.
There's no doubt that it's an untapped resource, okay? There's no doubt. But if I'm a consumer and I got $400 in my pocket, I certainly don't want to. I don't want to throw. I don't even want to throw you $200 right now for picking it up and putting it down.
What's as bad as it's been selling? I mean, you might as well just wait because that's going to be on sale very shortly.
Listen,
they said they did 2 million. Would they do 2 million yet or something?
No. They were saying they were good. That was their prediction.
That's what they say they can hit this year at the end of this physical.
Yeah, they're not going to come close to that.
But they're not going to hit that.
They might do the ship thing where they should. But at the end of the day,
no, they didn't announce numbers. They just said they're on track.
Know what they should have done?
They're on track.
They should have put the Pro out this year. Got those into people's home, and then dropped the VR the following year.
Yeah, I disagree. They should have they should bring out the Pro next year when they had a game to utilize that shows its power, which is Horizon Zero Dawn. For you bringing it out now, you still risk yourself not having a game.
I disagree with that, K-Mega. Sony's in trouble. Yeah. Right, like they needed to get that Pro out as soon as possible
before the Scorpio.
Yeah, they want to try and scoop some NPDs, but I don't know if that's going to work.
But look at the problems that they got already. I mean, you got people regardless of how some fanboys will go crazy and say, "Oh no, everything's fine. It's working fine on my television." Well, if you got Forbes and other people that don't have a fight in the console war saying this stuff, YouTubers, etc., then that there's issues and they should address those to fix those bugs. They rushed the system out too much, and I know that they got a 5-month window, but the problem is that they still don't have any games to show the true power. You can talk about The Last of Us all damn day, but that's 3 times.
K-Mega, the problem is, though, I completely see what you're saying, and you're making a hell of a point. Problem is, when Horizon comes out, that ain't going to show its potential either. That game's running at 30 frames per second.
Well,
so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you slice it. Here's what they tried to do. People don't like it when I say it, but I'm going to say it again. It's the millionth time. Sony is a sleazy, money-grabbing piece of shit company, and nobody wants to believe me. That's fine. That's fine. You stick to your guns.
Facts.
You do. It's the truth of the matter, because what you just said, all I'm doing now is wiping off all the. I'm taking a tie off this thing. Now you're gonna see what this thing really is undressed. What it is undressed is a money grab. They were trying to get out a year before Scorpio, not for just NPDs like Crap was saying, but to get every last blood-sucking PlayStation fan to buy it. Before they found out that when they get home and they plugged in that Pro, they bought the same thing twice. And that's the problem. Listen, this isn't me. That's my opinion, and I'm using some interesting words. But PlayStation showed Horizon, that's supposed to be their baby coming out next year, and it's not at 60 frames. How dare you put that out? There's no way that Microsoft's gonna have a first-party game that's not in 60 frames. And if they do, how dare they? That's my point. And they won't.
Well, they're not gonna have every game have 4K 60.
No. 1080 60 is what I'm asking.
No, but here's the thing.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. I think what you're gonna get is you're gonna get a game like Forza Horizon 3. Perfect example. That's just gonna be 4K 30. And it's going to be
4K 60. No. That's a racing game. No.
Absolutely, 4K 60.
You're not going to span. They already said you're not going to have different frame rates on different games. They're not. Whatever it is on Xbox One, the frame rate is going to be on. That's already been said. It's the same thing.
Well, here's the thing.
That would be a disappointment.
Wait, Rod Ferguson is on the hook, I believe, and I'd have to look for it.
Well, you have multiplayer. You have 60 frames per second on that.
But
you're going to force
single player would be 4K 60.
Yeah,
you gotta
player
show
doesn't
me
make a
that.
difference. Single player doesn't make a difference
that-
what you're doing.
I gotta look.
I think it's
gotta-
30. It's 30 single player because
No, it's 30 now.
yeah, I know. But
Scorpio.
it'll have to be 30 then too because
Why?
because it's co-op. It's multiplayer co-op.
Plus,
We don't talk about
4K
single player.
4K 60 on every game. That's just not happening.
No, I didn't say on every game.
Not
I'm
every
talking
game.
I'm talking about like, okay, if we're
No.
talking about like, let's say that, let's just hypothetically, like another Gears or something pops up, or Crackdown or Scalebound. I understand that being a 30, 4K 30. That's fine because that is a,
Right.
you're using a
I
lot
agree.
of hours.
I agree.
But a racing game, a fighting game, and a shooting game definitely better be a sports game.
Well,
better be 60 frames per
Forza
second.
Forza
Motorsport
Horizon
7.
But Forza
will be
Horizon
60.
3 is an open world 30 frames per second racer right now.
Yeah, what Tim is saying is there's multiplayer on that, and you're going to be playing multiplayer against a base Xbox One.
Well, wait a minute. Crap. Listen to me. Wait. Yesterday when we played multiplayer 2
not
days
having
ago,
splits.
hear me out. You don't have to have splits. Hear me out. We're going to have the same thing that the Pro has in the options category to make the game play however you want. So what'll happen was just the other day we were playing Call of Duty. We all have the same Xbox One S or Xbox One. Okay. When one person was still in a menu, it said can't put you into a party till everyone in the party's out of the menu. So what I'm saying here is, Tim, if I buy Scorpio and you don't, and we're playing Gears co-op, it'll say a prompt screen will pop up and say the player or member you're paired with is not running the same, whatever as you. Please switch or play your own game. Then I would just go into my settings and I would say, okay, I have to switch back to 1086 or 1080/30.
Well, that's dependent on the developer. But
that's going to be there because they already have it on the Pro. So
They
they'll have
so they have it on
have
the
to
One
do
Pro
that.
for Tomb Raider.
yeah.
They
When I
have
want
to
to
have
play,
that
my
option.
point is I'm not going to buy a
That's the
Scorpio.
only game that they have that's like that, though. Tomb Raider is the only one where
Yeah,
it
but
actually
I'm
gives
saying
you-
first party games.
First party, what I think this is going to happen is you're going to have, let's take a game like Gears.
Yeah.
Whatever you are frames per second on Xbox One,
Yeah.
you're going to have that translate to the same thing. Now, if a game like Gears 4, let's take an example of that. It's 4K 30.
Right.
Okay, it's going to have 4K textures, let's just say. And it's going to be that game. You're not gonna have that in 4K 60. You're gonna just have that 4K 30. It's gonna be consistent with the Xbox One. Unless, there might be some games that actually do what Tomb Raider did, but that requires extra work. That's not,
For all first parties, do the damn extra work. Microsoft, on your first parties, do the extra work. Do not make any shortcuts to give any openings to the other side. Because if
their whole thing is they're gonna say we have native. 4K gaming.
I'm not a resolution baby, Tim. I'm a gamer. I want frames. I don't give a fuck about the resolution. You can keep that 4K and stick it up their ass. I don't care about that. Give me the frames per second. I want to have those PC options to where I can have it at 60 frames per second. That's irrelevant to me. If they do that, it's a fail automatic.
Well, then I think you're gonna say it's a fail because I think that's where they're going.
Again, I'm gonna say this.
They got to have an option, man. They got to
I
have
don't care
an option.
less about 4K, upscale to 4K. I want high graphic fidelity, better textures. Now, if you just don't give me the same goddamn game with just at 4K, whatever the hell, it's no need for me to buy it. I can upscale my Xbox One S upscales to 4K.
Exactly. That would be absolutely
That's a
Microsoft
good point, Tim. I know what you're saying, and mathematically what you're saying makes good sense. But I'm going out. Why are we talking about 6, 7 T-flops just so I can have parity with an S and worry about what somebody else bought? That's not the way it works.
That's the console refresh idea. That's what you're going to do. What you're going to get, in my opinion, is you're going to get 4K resolution and 4K textures. And the games are going to look that much better. Do I think you're going to see 4K 60 Gears 4 or Gears 5 and the 4K 60 single player on Scorpio and 4K 30 on Xbox One S? No, I think they're going to be consistent with each other. There might be some odd games that have that have options like PC, where
single player games though, Tim, that would be my call. Like if you would, you might see a single player game that does that, but anything that has the option to play online co-op.
It's going to be the same. That's a fact. They've already said that they're not going to have disparity. You're not going to go play somebody on the Xbox ecosystem at 60 frames per second running on. And let's just say.
But why though? Why do you think? Why do you think that is?
Because you can't have one running 60 frames and one running
because the competitive advantage. They already
because it's
Phil, let's think about this. When people play on PC. People don't have the same goddamn.
But this isn't PC. This is Level Playing Ground.
But they're going to have all-in-one games, though. That right there, that debunks the argument. That right there.
There's no argument. They already said this. Shannon Loftus already said this.
I just read a report that there was just saying to him that the Scorpio experience is going to be just like having your PC on your big screen television. That I just read this report. I
remember Shannon saying that she said specifically frames per second will not differentiate on multiplayer. They will be the same throughout. You're playing Xbox One S if it's 6 like Halo, it doesn't matter because Halo is going to be 60 frames per second.
But most games are multiplayer or 60 frames a second, though. I'm not mistaken.
So pretty much if it is, but like a game like Forza Horizon 3, if you're going to be playing that multiplayer, you're not going to be playing at 60 frames per second.
You can't be playing with PC gamers, ain't theirs at 4K 60?
What? See, that's what
but that's PC.
But see, that's what I'm saying. But it's all in one, and that's look. I don't know. I haven't played Forza 3. I got it downloaded on my PC, but I haven't played Forza 3 on my PC yet, so I can't call on that. But for record and everything else, I got the option to play it at 60 frames.
Yeah, I got it right here. Here's an article. I'm gonna.
Okay, here. I got Shannon Loftus. What she said in an interview. Loftus talked about resolution differences between Xbox One and Scorpio, but also mentioned frame rates. While one would expect a rather big frame rate difference between both consoles, this isn't going to be the case, according to Loftus. She says no, there wouldn't be a frame rate difference. Basically, because typically the frame rate is determined by the game developer and what's right for the gameplay mechanic. You don't want to create two different mechanics for two different configurations.
Okay, I get that, but that should tell you right there, though, if this machine is as powerful as they're projecting and as everybody, because like I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know anything about a teraflop, about a VG, whatever the hell that shit is. I don't care. If it's going to be as powerful as they say it's going to be, then the developers need to get off their ass and make it 60 frames.
Well, if they really want to, but K-Meg, if they really wanted to push it, they would. That wouldn't be a console refresh. See, that's the thing. This is a console refresh, so you have to keep the Xbox One S in mind. And that's what this basically is saying.
Also, it goes on to say, Loftus's answer implies that game performance on Scorpio will be limited by the performance of the base Xbox One. They asked what happens when Xbox One games are only capable of sub-60 frame performances and whether Scorpio would be pinned to the lower spec in that regard. Typically, yes, was her answer. A good example is Killer Instinct, which is crossplay on PC and Xbox One, but they have locked-in frame rate at 60. And she says, we could do better on a super high-end PC, but it ruins the competitive nature of it. So they lock.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Let me explain something to you guys. Where's the competitive nature ruined when me and Tim are going through Gears 4 single player together and I'm seeing mine at 60 frames and he isn't? That doesn't affect anybody. That's what I said.
Player. So maybe,
that's what I said.
There might be a difference, but I don't know. I see, first of all, hitting 4K 60 on Gears 4, let's just say, I don't think that Scorpio, as powerful it is
I want to reiterate something. Because what happens, we get into a lot of discussion here. And
4K 60 is big
I said
deal.
1080p 60 or 4K 60, whatever Rod gives us, I'll be more than happy to have for dinner. My point being is I don't care which one it is, but when I came home with my Scorpio, I'm looking forward to playing Gears single player, co-op or not, 1080p 60 or 4K 60. That's up to Rod. That's not my decision. I'll be happy either way.
What if? Let me give you an example. Gears 4.
Yeah.
It can't. Let's just say the Scorpio cannot hit 60 frames per second and have a stable frame rate. So let's just say you have the. Would you want it to be the option of 4K 30 or 1080p 60?
1080p 60.
Yes.
And that's what I was going to say.
That would require. That could be done, but it requires extra work. That's the only thing that.
Well, they got a year to do this. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Maybe they can do it with Gears, but games.
Not that I'm expecting an answer, but I did write Rod. I said, Rod, when Scorpio launches, will I be able to play Gears 4 single player in either 4K 60 or 1080p 60? Thank you. I want to see if he answers back or if we get anything back.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Please do answer that. But this is the thing for me. For my selling point for me is okay. Like I said, I don't care about the 4K situation. If I'm jumping on multiplayer and they say you got two options, you got 4K 30, you got 1080p 60. I'm hitting the 1080p 60 on multiplayer every day because that's what I want. Those frames per second does make a huge difference, especially with the games that I were talking about. If you know what I'm saying, for Forza single player 4K 30, I'm fine with that. Great. But you know what? I'm not that much of a resolution baby to care about, especially as we see great games like Rise, Quantum Break, etc., Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1. It's so many other games out there that can make games look better than what they actually are. You know,
I thought it was already confirmed. All first-party games 4K 60 for Mike. I think that was already confirmed.
No, they said 4K. They didn't say 60.
Forza 7 is going to hit.
Forza 7, Killer Instinct will get a bump up to 4K 60.
I think as long as my games look better graphically, you know what I mean? And again, if they're not going to look better graphically, then there's no need for me to buy it. I can just keep what the fuck I have and upscale to 4K.
And that would be suicide on Microsoft's part.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I think they're going to make the games that are going to look very good, but I do think that there is a little bit of a caveat with the fact that this is a refresh and have to handle.
That motherfucker's 4.5 times more powerful than what we have right now.
Yeah, you're right. But like I said, there is going to be a caveat. You're going to have, I think, you know, where you have these things where, you know, you have a 4K 30 and then a 1080p 30. I don't know if you're going to say 4K 60, 1080 30 split.
Here's the thing again, all Microsoft, long as they, especially the multi-plats, long as they run better than what's on their competitor, and
they're going.
All that matter. And because at the end of the game,
the way the marketing is being pushed, and the way it's being pushed, and the way the things that I'm hearing or I'm reading, it looks like they are pushing for the resolution babies, because resolution in their mind looks like it's going to sell, you know, and that's what I think that they might be gunning for is that they're going to say we have a 4K system.
Yeah, but they're going to get ripped by the PC elitists, and they're going to get ripped by Sony fanboys that don't know what the hell that they're talking about. I understand that, but the fact of it is, you'll have PlayStation guys that'll jump on board with that. And look, right here, this topic tonight is going to be their ammunition to say, oh well, what's the point of getting a Scorpio when you can just get the Pro? That's what I'm saying. They have to have
pros doing the same thing.
Next gen is right. You know what I'm saying? You got to bet on black or the cookie face gangster, whatever the case you want to call it as. But you got to shut the crowd down with this damn system. It's got too much hype right now to not get out there. And people are
when you have a multiplayer game and multi-plat and it's in 4K and it's not in 4K in Pro, that's all you need.
But here's the thing again.
That's all that's going to be. If you have a game like, let's say Call of Duty, it's 1800p and it's downsampled to 1080p, whatever. And they're using checkerboarding.
But think about
it's 4K native on Xbox One, on Xbox Scorpio. That's all they need. That's
which is cool. But look at it like this though. If the Scorpio is $500, right? Let's be clear. There's $500, and it's it's already said it's going to be a premium console, whatever the fuck they're going to charge for it. But if you're just going to tell me that, hey, all right, and let's be clear, as consumer base wise, people talk shit at the start of the generation. The Xbox was $100 more than the PS4. Forget the resolution. That's what really stuck Microsoft in the ass. $500, $400. And it's slightly more powerful. But if you're going to give me the same looking game, the same textures as what's on the PS4,
they already said that's going to use the Windows textures, the 4K.
But the Microsoft games, that's not multiplats. That's Microsoft games.
Well, they're not in charge of what the developers do.
So as I was saying,
the UWP you're definitely going to see but
that's when you get three first party games a year, if we're lucky. Fuck that. If you're going to tell me that I'm going to have the same looking Call of Duty as PS4 Pro. And mine is just going to be 4K or whatever the hell it is, native. Come on, that's dog shit.
Well, then you might be very disappointed because.
Hold on. Here's my thing though. Z, you make a good case, But then what you got to do once we get done with this show is you got to box that Pro up and bring it back.
Exactly.
Because you got a Pro.
I'm speaking from experience. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because that Pro can't even do with the Scorpios. I hear your
do a
point.
little bit
I'm
more.
not going to get burned again. I'm not.
No.
You know what I mean?
Z, I'll be honest.
That's the issue.
You'll be getting
with the
Scorpio
Pro.
day one.
No, listen.
Yeah.
You
Hear me out.
fucking think that fucking 480i.
Listen. Look at the Pro. Look at the Pro. It's on paper, it's a fucking beast, right? We got 4 T-flops. Right, and the problem is, people were expecting a bigger jump. It's because Sony is wasting the goddamn console resources on this 1800p instead of just putting the shit at 1080p and giving us better textures, let the motherfucker upscale to 4K. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's the fucking issue. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm hoping that they will be creative, and I'm hoping that they will give us options. But realistically, I just think that some of these games are not going to do that. They're already
high settings, ultra settings.
I think a lot of people are trying to act like this is a new console generation. It's not.
Right.
It's just a souped up Xbox One, even per Phil Spencer.
Well, but that's a play. Listen, that's a play on words though, crap. Because it's not going to be labeled a new generation, but it is a new generation because you can't go from 1.3 teraflops to 6.7 and tell me it's a fucking mid upgrade. That's not an up. I mean, we've never had a jump like that in performance in any generation of any decade. So we went from 16-bit to 32-bit.
But again, it's still held back by
but not really though, because they're both x86, and just like if you got a 560 and he got a GTX 1080, we can play the same goddamn games.
But hey, listen, it's held back, especially in multiplayer. They're not going to make different versions.
Multiplayer's already 60 frames across all platforms.
No, dude, it's not even just that. Okay, look, Battlefield 1, for example, right? That launched on the PS4 Pro.
Right.
It had a huge advantage in frames per second and in resolution. They patched it because the frame rate chugs on the regular PS4.
Okay.
So they patched it to match the performance multiplayer on the basic PS4. Right. So they're not gonna I know. And this is what I'm saying. Go back and listen. I know, but go back and listen to what I was saying when I was worried about this stuff, and everybody was so excited. And I said, "Listen, the CPU is going to bottleneck the Pro." Nobody believed me. I said, "Look, they're not. It's going to be the same frame rate. They're going to have to match it down in the multiplayer. They're not going to give one player an advantage over the other, and it's not really going to matter because basically what they're doing is just giving us. If you have a 4K TV, you're going to be able to play these games in native 4K." You know what I mean? Cool. You might have some better textures, but at the end of the day, if you're not having it side by something, who the fuck knows?
Okay, here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. And all right, now I see what the frame rate. Most multiplayer games are at 60 frames, more or less.
Yeah, Halo.
I don't have a problem with that. Fuck, take it out of that equation. Fuck that. But what I'm saying is this: you're talking about, they say a mid console refresh, whatever the fuck the case may be. You got a console that's at a minimum 4.5 times more powerful than what I got right now. If I can't get a better looking game graphically, resolution again doesn't determine better graphics.
Well, technically, you get better looking games on the Pro.
Not really. Not right now. It's not night and day.
Well, I mean, they're
wasting the consistent resources on that checkup, that 1800p, and all that shit there. Like, what's the sense of you giving me The Last of Us remaster, whatever, in 4K, and you're still using fucking PS3 textures? That's like playing fucking Mario 64 and fucking in 4K on your PC. Like, come on, it doesn't look better.
Yeah, I mean, look, both of these companies, we don't know enough about the Scorpio yet. So, like, I'm gonna kind of be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I would still be optimistic. I mean,
some people are just gonna stick with the S.
Yeah, these are good. Don't get me wrong.
You always said that the S would be the seller.
Well, according to the developer here.
Okay, see, this is the thing. This is the thing that I want to say. Okay, as I'm a PC gamer myself, and I don't have a top end 4K PC. I just have a good PC that will hit anywhere from 60 to 120 frames. Right. Sometimes on certain games, maybe a little bit higher, but if developers can do that for the PC and for what I have, which is not over powerful, I don't see with the architecture with the Scorpio that they can't utilize that power. That's the thing. That's the only thing that I'm tripping on because you know what I'm saying. I think that all of us is thinking on just for a console. It's just thinking like console gamers. We have to look and understand that when I read the report the other day, they said that this is going to be a PC, a true PC. You're going to get a true PC experience on your big screen television. So that right there is telling me that they will have that option. I don't think it would be that hard. Now, if the developers are lazy, which they are known to be, the third party, then I'm not going to trip too much on that, but the first party, Microsoft Studios, better have their shit right, man. They better have it because if they don't, it's going to hurt them.
I think that they will. I have a quote here. I think the first party is going to highlight what Scorpio is all about. There's no doubt about that.
See, I understand that Shannon and all them tweeted all that out, but remember something. They have to watch their ass. They can't come out making promises 12 months before, so I don't blame her. If I was in her seat, I would say the same thing. I do
100% agree that there will never be
an example.
Between the multiplayer frames per second.
No one's saying that crap. My only thing is the single player, not the multiplayer player.
If they might not even give you the option. What happens with
from the developer? What the fuck is this guy's name? Mark Williams. He says here, yes, definitely. Williams said we have to maintain parity from a functional and gameplay point of view, but we can really really go to town on ramping up the visual quality. It's like having a PC game where you can get new graphics cards, and now you can ramp all the graphic settings all the way up to maximum.
Well,
that's
there you
all
go.
that fucking needed. Yeah, problem fucking solved. I'm happy. I'm a happy man now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Microsoft.
Don't get too worried. We got a long way to go.
We got a while.
And that was the thing that I was going to say as well, is that we got a long way to go. That's the one thing that Microsoft has right now. They have time to burn, and they will get it right. They will get it right.
Yeah. And they're developing for it too. And they are developing for it. So it's in Pro's case, it was 3 months they had development, or 2 months per the docs. They didn't really have the dev kit in its hands, where the dev kit for Scorpio is going to be in developers' hands. I would think it would be a lot more time than 2 months. So, you're gonna have a lot. Xbox is going to have a lot of chance to work on these games and get it right. Where Pro wasn't in that position. You could say it's rushed or whatever, but they didn't get their dev kits until I think September or August. So I think it was September. So they didn't really have that much time. And as time goes on, I think Pro it'll start to smooth out too, because it's all about time. A lot of this stuff and programming the games and making them run on both and all of that stuff. At one time they were just developing for one system. Now they're developing for two, and with the Pro. So I think Microsoft really played this right. They're going to have the specs. They're going to have learning from what Pro did. This has never been done. This console refresh. This is all new. And they're gonna
bite them both in the ass. Like, don't bet against that yet.
It could be that Xbox One S, like you said, is really the thing that sells the thing. The inclusion of them adding the UHD player to both, that was huge. That was so huge.
Yeah.
And I saw in the notes, we talked about it, that they're marketing, and they should. It is a big deal. Yeah. It is a big deal, and it is a factual, thing. They have UHD player. They can play physical UHD discs, and Sony took themselves out of that conversation, because this Black Friday, when you buy a 4K TV, the casual would have been sold the Pro. They would have said, "Hey, here's your Pro. It's a 4K player. You can utilize your content for your movies." Now the casual, there's no debate. Here's the Xbox One. It's the cheapest on the market.
Yep.
There you go.
And they just updated it, so it's even better. So
it's gonna keep getting better.
Actually, without getting too much into it, it's gonna get a hell of a lot better in the future.
Ooh.
I guess we should be wrapping up. People are complaining about The Walking Dead.
Walking
Oh
Dead.
shit! Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're listening to all these middle-aged men argue over these goddamn consoles. Thank you for rocking out with us.
Oh, damn. Z.
We out here, man.
Yo, easy.